I should begin by thanking Madhyamam for inviting me here to speak about media, crisis in the media in times of pandemic and populism. While coming here, I was telling Rajagopal that these days it's a bit depressing to keep talking about the crisis in the media, but then by talking about it, you also sort of unburden yourself, and like psychologists say, when you keep talking about a problem, sometimes you find solutions also when you talk about it, So I will just take a few minutes to put forth some of the big trends that we are seeing in the media in the last 7-8 years. Of course, pandemic accelerated some trends in the media, but populism existed before pandemic. Populism, right-wing populism, majoritarian populism, whatever you may call it, existed before the pandemic. It has only got accentuated during and after the pandemic. So I'll talk about two types of crisis. One is the ideological crisis, and the other is economic crisis. Media today faces both ideological crisis and separately economic crisis. Media economics is also very badly threatened. I'll come to that. So, ideological crisis is about how the bulk of media in India, centrist media which always believed in questioning the establishment, media which always questioned hate politics, which was normal in the earlier times. Now, in times of populism, the same media is being described as anti-national. The same media, the right-wing ecosystem is filing cases against the same media when it goes and questions the establishment, questions the politics of the establishment, even does routine coverage of communal problems which are created by the powers, by the populist powers. Now, this has become very serious. I can share the Wire's experience. We've got 3 cases by UP government, criminal cases, for normal reporting of issues in UP. In Barabanki, a mosque was demolished, a small mosque. All newspapers carried that story. Wire also carried the story. So they filed a criminal case against the UP government, against Wire. Wire went to the Supreme Court and we got protection against the UP police. And now we are fighting that case in the High Court, Allahabad High Court. And shockingly, Section 153A of the Criminal Procedure Code has been imposed on, put on the Wire. And this section says that by reporting a communal event, we are promoting inter-community hatred. Now, you just imagine the formulation, how the law is being used. So, if this law is to be applied universally, thankfully this is only being applied in UP, by UP government. You cannot cover any event. You could not have covered Babri Masjid demolition because this same section 153A would come, put on the media organization saying, by writing about it, you are creating more tension between communities, right? So all the existing laws, I'm giving you just one example, are being misused, abused to intimidate media, intimidate journalists. I mean, my friends will talk more about it. So we have a situation today where I'm very happy that Madhyamam has written a big editorial on a statement signed by many editors. I am also part of the signatories. Rajagopal is a part of has signed the statement. N. Ram. A number of editors have signed a statement which urges the constitutional bodies to urgently look at how populist, populist government in Delhi and its ecosystem is creating everyday majoritarian radicalization, everyday hate events against minorities, and this is, in my view, this is very serious. So media has to, at the same time while they're doing this, they're also intimidating the media. So bulk of the media, instead of questioning these acts, this everyday radicalization, everyday anti-minority hate events being orchestrated by the powers, instead of questioning them, a lot of media is actually keeping quiet and going along with the populist powers, and some of them are even questioning the opposition. When this is a new trend, I have been 40 years in journalism. I have never seen anti-opposition journalism, where on every issue the opposition is being questioned and not the establishment. So these, whether it is the hijab controversy or whether it is in Karnataka, where traditional fair, where lakhs of people come and buy and sell goods, they set up stalls where Muslims are not being allowed to set up stalls. Again, an event aimed at again radicalizing the majority. And in our statement, journalist statement, which Madhyamam has written about today, we've clearly bring out that constitutional bodies need to take a stand, and we need to speak the truth. We need to, we need to sort of call a spade, and hopefully, media in general, editors and constitutional bodies will pay heed to our appeal. Although constitutional bodies are also under a lot of pressure from the populist the regime in Delhi. Now coming to the pandemic, I want to make one point here. I am very optimistic about one thing. This politics of hate which is being generated is mostly at the moment concentrated in the Hindi states, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, in the Hindi heartland, from where this regime gets the bulk of their Lok Sabha seats. As you come, in fact, Arun Shourie used to tell me that as you come down towards the south of Vindhyas, I think media is far more fearless and far more objective. So, for instance, Madhyamam has done an editorial on our statement. I don't think in the north any newspaper will even cover our statement. The statement signed by editors, calling constitutional bodies to look at to address this whole radicalization, everyday Hindutva radicalization that is happening. So states like Kerala, states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana, even Orissa, Bengal, our experience is that in many of our wires, big investigation stories, starting from the one against Amit Shah's son, Jay Shah, which we did 6 years ago, the papers, media down south and media in the east, they really covered our issues, and it was a big, for us, for the wire, it has been a big source of encouragement. So I'm hoping that the media in the south, in the southern states, even in the eastern states, I would even say Maharashtra media is also fairly robust. They hold out to this threat, which has accentuated during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, of course, various laws have been used by the government to not only laws, in very pernicious ways. They have used the media to run hate campaign against minorities. You all remember the Tablighi Jamaat, how they were projected as corona, bombs, and the Bombay High Court indicted 2 news channels for doing that. And those two, even after those indictments, those news channels have not learned. They continue to do their, anti-minority, campaign, or at least campaign that the Hindu majority is in danger. That's another trope that we are witnessing these days. So there, at various levels, we have to fight this. Media has to fight. The constitutional bodies have to fight, or at least provide some justice. The judiciary has to look at it, And so this is on the ideological side. Now, on the economic side, there is a parallel crisis. Unfortunately, the economics of media has also deteriorated in the last 6-7 years, and this has come parallelly. So the ideological crisis and the economic crisis for the media has come together, and it is really hurting. Economic crisis has come together because social media has come in a big way, and it is taking away a lot of revenues from the traditional media. So today I know a lot of media, at least in the north, I don't know about the south, a lot of big media, national media owners are willing to, they want Facebook to be, the revenues of Facebook to be more of the Facebook revenue to be shared with them. They want the government, they are going to the same government which is creating this ecosystem. Sorry, they are going to the same government, the media owners, and asking for help in getting Facebook and other, Google, etc., to share more revenue, pass a law so that more revenues could be shared with the traditional media, because they use, all these social platforms, they use media content. And the media owners feel that they are not paying enough for the content. And a similar legislation was passed in Australia, and there is some, in Australia it is, there is some framework has been worked out for sharing of revenues by Facebook, Google, which are really big, and they have huge revenues. And they in the last 6-7 years, especially after pandemic, a lot of advertising revenue has shifted from traditional media, that is newspapers, even television, to the digital, to big social platforms like Facebook, Google, Twitter. So this is the second part of the crisis, and that is also hurting media. And I don't know how this will be addressed, because the media owners are going to the same government asking for help in getting Facebook and Google to share larger revenues. Now, obviously, when you go to the same government, the government will extract its price. So to what extent that will lead to media getting, mainstream media getting further compromised, I don't know. Well, as far as the wire is concerned, we are a very small non-profit media. So we don't depend on advertising. We purely depend on donations. And our content in that sense is insulated from the advertiser or the government advertising or corporate advertising. Now, I think one solution could be increasingly other media. We are doing it on a small scale. I'm not saying that we are a big success story, but other media can build, move much more towards a subscriber-based model, which I think Hindu is trying to do, some others are trying to do. So these are some of the, I think, ways in which we can combat the two twin crises which have come together: ideological crisis and the economic crisis for the media. Thank you.